Welcome to How's It, the podcast about bridging global cultures, celebrating the good, the bad, milestones, and growing together.
Well done. How are you?
I'm good. How are you? I had to look at my notes. It's so bad.
We've only been doing this for
a long
months.
time. 8 months. It's been 8 months.
Something like that, yeah. Maybe like 7.
When did we start? April. March. We started recording in March.
7 months.
7 months. Still don't know how to say it. Anyway, before we get into our little episode, shall we do highs, lows, rent-frees?
Let's do it. Right. High of the week is we went on a lovely walk yesterday.
We did. That was lovely. It wasn't the prettiest walk we've been on.
No.
But it was nice.
Yes.
It's always nice.
Great place to take Louis for a walk. She saw, we passed horses.
She wasn't interested.
I don't think she saw them, to be honest. I think she just saw legs and then she moved on.
Happy days.
Exactly.
Fucking good to go. And there was a wonderful little dog that was like
obsessed with
her. What is his name? Pumbaa
and Tay-Tay.
Pumbaa and Tay-Tay. I like those
funny.
names. They're very cute. No, it was nice. It was a lovely walk.
Yeah.
That's like my favorite thing to do in winter. A walk on a Sunday,
Nice
lunch,
roast.
happy days. Get home early. You can still chill.
Exactly.
The best. Love it.
It was very cool. So that was my high.
Nice.
My low is, I've got toxic positivity, so I don't have a low.
You don't have a low.
That's what it is.
You know, it's so true. Every time we go to my lows, I sit back and I'm like, okay, thinking about the week, like, okay, what's the week been? I'm like, wasn't that bad, you know? It really wasn't that bad.
But that's because we look back with rose-tinted glasses at our life. We look forward with rose-tinted glasses. Which is not a bad thing.
No,
And maybe not the best thing, but it is.
Okay, so no low for you.
Yeah. And then my rent-free this week is actually, I was doing a bit of catch-up on pretty much my favorite podcast, which is Shameless.
Yeah.
And so weird. They literally spoke about the girls thing and the fact that, we were talking last week about the fact that we still call ourselves girls.
Yeah.
And they were talking about it.
Really?
And they were also talking about the fact that they don't really mind, but that there was one occasion where they were in a meeting and quite an exec or whatever called them the girls, and they had a problem with that.
Was he a male or female? Was it a male or female?
It was a female, actually, or
really?
woman, yeah.
Interesting, because that's very similar to what you were saying as well.
Exactly. So it's just really bizarre
that's weird.
that we were talking about the same thing. But it's a really good episode. So my rent-free is just all the thoughts running through my head about this episode. It's basically, are we mean girls? And what is this whole mean girl rhetoric? And there's so much of just having a conversation and talking about other people doesn't mean that you are actually a mean girl.
Really? Okay, that sounds quite interesting.
Yeah, so it's a really interesting take on things,
I like that.
and also the fact that you basically either a girl's girl or you're not, and there's nothing in between.
But what is a girl's girl?
Well, that's exactly what they were trying to talk about, is the fact that it feels like so extreme on either end,
that's
when
so true.
really there's a whole bunch of space in between for all of these things. And they also spoke about how not having a boyfriend is cool. I don't know. It's a good episode.
Okay, I'm going to listen to it. So interesting that you say this whole girls' girl, because I feel like that narrative, it started with Love Island, because obviously if you think of Love Island, that whole format of the TV show is you go in to try and find a person, you naturally are going to make friendships, but it's like, oh, she's a girl's girl. She's not a girl's girl because she kind of went for the guy that I'm liking. But it's kind of like, well, that's the premise of the show.
So why does she
kind of need to? But then you also see it in so many reality TVs, are you a girl's girl? Or the way that girls or women are introducing themselves, I'm a girl's girl. What makes you a girl's girl?
Exactly.
Okay, I actually need to listen to that, because I'm confused. I'm like, am I a girl's girl? I don't know.
And just the fact that, we live in a challengeless society. Nobody challenges anyone, and if you do, then you're not standing up for women, and you can never ever challenge other women because, how dare you?
Yes.
But you don't have that same narrative with men. So it's a really good episode, and it's just so funny because we were talking about pretty much the same thing.
We were literally talking about that last week.
Exactly. So yeah, that's what's living rent-free in my brain.
Nice.
How about you?
Rent-free. Okay, so those that are in the UK, Traitors.
Oh my gosh.
Traitors, celebrity Traitors. So just for our South African listeners, Traitors is a TV show And the premise is that there are between 12 to 18 people, I can't remember, they all go live in a castle or a location, and the host chooses her traitors. So you've got traitors, which is generally 2 to 3 people, and you've got the faithfuls. And the whole, guys, is to get the traitors voted out. Yeah. But you don't know who a traitor is. Every night, the traitors kill off a faithful. They have ceremonies where they banish people who they think could be traitors. They win money at the end of it, right? So who's ever standing wins money. If the traitor obviously is left standing, they win all the money. If the faithfuls are left standing,
they split the money.
They split the money. But what's interesting for me is that the mind games and the manipulation that goes on in this game, there's been obviously a couple of seasons of just normal people. They've just done a celebrity one in the UK. And you know what's quite weird? I think with the celebrity one, the money that they were winning was going to a charity, right? So there was backstabbing, there was lies. But then if you look on the other side, when it's not a celebrity, they're doing that to win money for themselves. And I'm like, would you do that to some people? Would you lie so much to get money? But then I guess a lot of them have reasons for the money. Anyway, I'm waffling on about it. But anyway, it's great.
Well, I actually think that the ones where people were actually trying to get the money for themselves were more ruthless.
They were so ruthless, and I think that was where it's a bit like, ooh, I don't know. It kind of feels a bit weird, but then at the same time, if you really need that money, and we're talking big amounts, we're talking like close to £100,000. 150,000 pounds. That is a lot of money. I mean, times that by 20 in South African rands, you know what I mean? But it's really good. So the winner, spoiler if you haven't watched it, Alan Carr, who is he's kind of a bit like Marmite. You either love him or you hate him. I've always liked him because I've seen him a lot on UK Drag Race. Loved him on Drag Race. Johnny was not a fan, but even towards the end, he's like, I've warmed up so much to him. And I think you were like that as well. Yeah. But it was just really good. Obviously, Joe Marler. Love Joe Marler.
Obsessed
with him.
I'm so sad he didn't.
He looks a lot like Vaughan. He reminds me and John so much of Vaughan. We're like, this is Vaughan. This is like the English version of Vaughan. Stephen Fry was on it, who's obviously a legend. Yeah, anyway, it was great. So that's kind of been, the final was really good. Yeah. My low is having to deal with our wonderful University of South Africa, UNISA, trying to get my transcripts for our indefinite leave to remain, because apparently South Africa is not recognized as an English-speaking country. So, yeah, I mean, just to try and get a transcript has been
impossible.
Fucking nightmare.
How many times have you tried?
I've literally tried 5 times. They keep on sending me back the same form to fill out. So long story short, we're not doing that anymore. I'm just going to go do my B1 English test. Like, it is what it is.
Great.
But another £150 down the drain. Cool.
At least it's a B1 English test.
At least it's a B1 English test. It's
which
fun.
You just need to have a chat.
So I have my topic. I've got my topic. So anyway, I need to do that. So that's
what are you going to talk about?
I think I'm going to talk about baking.
Love it.
I think I'm going to talk about baking.
Just send them the podcast. I'll just send them the podcast. Proof that I actually do speak English.
I can actually speak English. So that's kind of been my low, but it hasn't been that bad. And then rent-free is, oh my gosh, I'm like so into the Fourth Wing trilogy series. I just caved and I bought Onyx Storm last night. I was like, I'm buying this. I don't care.
You've got a book club book to read.
I have a book club book to read. So do you. Have you started reading that? No, exactly. Super soon. No, I've started reading the book club book, but this Onyx Storm, I'm already like 20% in, and I literally bought it. No, I can't stop reading it. So when I obviously read at night, but then also in the evenings, I'm like, I'm just gonna go have a bath, and then I lie in the bath for like 40 minutes, and I'm just like reading. But yeah, it's so good.
I will say that I'm having the weirdest dreams.
Okay, so another spoiler alert for those that haven't read Fourth Wing. Go now, like block out now. I dreamt I was a lightning wielder. I literally dreamed I could wield lightning. No, the dreams are wild, but it's really, really good. Like, highly recommend.
Yeah, it's a mega series.
Yeah, it's mega. But we'll dive more into it and wind down Fridays.
Yeah.
Cool. Shall we get into today's episode?
Yes, let's do it. Right, so it's something that is literally a topic. We always talk about, like, okay, what is the topic around the girls' dinner table, right?
Yeah.
And this one keeps on coming up. It's something
so
that, and maybe it's also because I love talking about it because I find it so fascinating. So maybe I'm the one bringing it up. I don't know. But
no, I'm also always interested. I'm very interested because and we'll get into it, but I want to know if I'm an anomaly or not.
Well, exactly that. Anyway.
Yeah.
I'm not going to give my opinion.
Okay.
Not right now.
But I'll get it at some stage.
Of course. Because I can't shut up about my own opinion. But we are talking today about motherhood, or whether to become a mother or not.
Yeah.
So like that decision to have children or not. And it's such a sort of, I kind of feel like there's very extreme viewpoints of it.
Yeah.
So you sort of have a camp who's like, of course you should have children. You should have as many children as you can. You should just procreate and fill the earth with babies.
I think, sorry, carry on. I've got so many thoughts.
And then obviously I'm representing a very extreme viewpoint there.
Yeah.
And then you have the others that are like, no, we'll never have children.
Yeah.
Hated the idea so much. It's a terrible decision, and also it's terrible for the world.
Yeah.
Don't you dare do that kind of thing.
Yeah, true.
And then obviously we all sit somewhere in between.
Then you've got your grey.
Exactly. And we all live in the grey, right?
We all live in the grey.
Yeah.
I think to add another group, kind of a subgroup on the have as many, you've got two groups within that. You've got those that were born growing up being, I want to be a mother. That is my purpose in life. My purpose in life is to be a mom. And then on the flip side, of course we're having kids. We have to, because that's just what you do, right?
100%.
You get married and you're totally having a kid. So I do think that group can be broken down even further.
Yeah, of course.
And then on the opposite, you've got obviously those that are just like, I'm not having, or those unfortunately who can't have.
Exactly.
Who really want to, can't have. So there's so many greys.
It's so many greys.
So many greys. Okay, come on. Get on with the first question. I really like this topic as well.
I love it. I love talking. I find it so fascinating.
Fascinating.
And I think this is really just an introduction to like where we stand and what our viewpoints are, but
and nothing's right or wrong.
No, 100%.
Yeah.
But we're planning on chatting to a couple of mothers and maybe even some people that have chosen not to have children and what that looks like for them, because I think it's all so different. But yeah, so right now, today is all about us, as is usual on this podcast.
Yeah, as it should be.
So where do you stand? Why do you stand in that camp?
Okay, where do I stand? So I am team firmly, I'm not having a kid. Like, me and John are not having children. That is where we stand. We do have our check-ins where we're like, are we still both on the same page? Because I think sometimes the man's viewpoint or decisions can somewhat be overlooked.
Yeah,
I do think so. We try and be quite active when we're having these conversations. But my journey to get to I don't want to have children has been quite interesting in the sense of I've never been a very maternal person. I've always joked that kids don't like me. I'm good with babies and then kind of like 6 or 7 year olds, but kind of I'm like
that in between age.
That in between, I'm like, they just don't like me. But mine especially started when I started suffering with anxiety, and there was a period in my life where I was probably about 23, 24 where there was a lot of babies just being born around me. So much so I think there were like 15 people from my year in high school that all had kids. I wasn't friends with them and they weren't necessarily friends with each other, but we were all on social media and it was like,
you could see all the babies.
You could
being
literally,
born.
I was like, oh my gosh, like that is a lot. That is a lot of babies happening. And I always thought to myself, I'm like, I'm too scared to have a kid. I literally am too scared, because what happens if they're born with issues? What happens if they're born with like some health issues? What happens if I have a stillborn? What happens if I miscarry? What happens if I'm born with a child that is going to need to be on some form of medication for the rest of their life?
Yeah. So you brought a lot of anxiety.
So that kind of whole anxiety. So already I was really like, oh my gosh. And then what happens if I've got a kid that's 4 or 5 years old and something happens to them? You know what I mean? Like I was like, no, this is too much for my brain. It's like, I can't do it. Like, I'm just going to be too anxious. And then that slowly and surely, and then I was like, okay, I would tell people this, and it was like, okay, that's relatively irrational. And then it kind of started forming a bit again. So, well, okay, maybe that anxiety is not so much the reason why I'm not going to have, but I'm more kind of looking at the world and looking at climate change, and I'm looking at how many people we have, and there's so many children that need to be adopted. So kind of they didn't ask to be born. I don't want to kind of put another human being out there, because do we need more people in the world?
Yeah.
So if I am going to have a kid, maybe I'd want to adopt. And then it's kind of transpired into, and as time goes on and the older you get, it's kind of like, ooh, I kind of just like my little bubble that I'm living in, and selfishly, I'm kind of not having a kid because I don't know if it's going to fit in with my life.
Yeah, you like your life the way it is.
I like my life the way it is. You know, I'm not saying it's an easy life, but there's not a lot of things around me when I consider if I want to tomorrow pack my bags and go for a 2-week road trip to Scotland as an example, I can do that because I have a cat. And obviously I've got John, but I'm thinking of this very just myself at the moment.
Yeah, but you can pack John.
I can pack John, exactly. Do you know what I mean?
And
but
your cats if you really want to.
I can take Andy with, but it's very, my time is my own. Yes. My life is my own. When I'm thinking of decisions, I'm considering John, yes, but I'm not considering anybody else. So it was quite a journey to get there. It didn't take me long to figure out that I didn't want it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the reasons have changed over the years. There's still elements of all those reasons, but it definitely has changed.
Yeah, and it could evolve further, you know. It's certainly not necessarily the end of the road for that evolution of why you don't want to go down that path.
I think the great thing is, and you know what, if I mean, look, and I doubt it'll change, but I'm still young enough to be able to be like, I might wake up tomorrow and be like, actually, I'm going to have a kid. You know what I mean? I think that's a great thing with modern medicine, but I don't see that happening.
Yeah. And fair enough.
And that's okay, because that's my decision.
Exactly.
Where do you stand, Tarryn? This is what I'm interested to hear.
I mean, that is such a good question.
It is.
And it's something that I ask myself pretty much every day.
Okay. Oh, I can see your eyes. You're like, I don't know.
If you really want to know what lives rent-free in my head, it's this. Because it is like pretty much a constant narrative in my brain.
Yeah.
Thinking about whether I want to have a child or not. And I don't know. I honestly don't know, because I literally go from one end of the spectrum to the other, and that can happen within like the span of 30 minutes. And so it's like, it is definitely an ongoing discussion in our house about whether we want to be parents or not. Because obviously it is like a discussion point. It's something we constantly talking about.
If you think of like how yours changes all the time, Blaine's is probably changing all the time as well.
Well, exactly that.
You know?
So, and sometimes I think, you know, I might be more keen in one period, and Blaine will be less keen, but then there's other times where Blaine's more keen and I'm like, oh, I don't know about this. Yeah. So it is like something that really like goes from one end to the other.
So hectic.
And it's really difficult, because I look at like, so for me, babies are the cutest thing in the world. I'm obsessed with babies. They are like, yesterday when we were at that restaurant, we had Sunday lunch yesterday, and there were 2 little babies, and they were fresh. They were very small.
They were probably, I would say, about 4 or 5 months old. They were but they were very cute.
And they were so cute, and I just wanted to squish them. And I look at a baby, and I'm like, yeah, I'm down for that. That looks cool. Babies seem like pretty chilled. Like
I can do this.
I'm sure there's loads of moms being like, babies are not chilled, but I stand by this because I think babies are chilled. But then, I think I could deal with that.
Yeah.
I don't know what I would do with a 4-year-old. I don't, love a 4-year-old. I don't know what to say to a 4-year-old.
Yeah, because they're starting to, really form a personality, but they're not kind of old enough.
But I don't know, how to connect. I don't spend
I know
a lot
what you
of
mean.
time around 4-year-olds. So.
It's that connection. It's a kind of that connection thing that you feel comfortable with.
But then I'm with your niece and nephew, and I'm like, these kids are the greatest thing on earth.
I know, but it's also I think it's so difficult to base it on when people that you love have kids.
Exactly,
right?
Yeah.
You're always going to be obsessed with those kids.
Exactly. But then I see 13-year-olds, and I'm like, that looks even worse than a 4-year-old.
Can you imagine an 18-year-old?
Exactly, and I don't like parenting. I think becomes harder as
100%.
It doesn't a baby doesn't go anywhere.
No.
You just have to sort of keep it alive and you're good to go.
I think the minute that kid starts walking, good luck.
Exactly.
Your life's like over. Not life's over.
So
but you know
babies,
what I mean?
yeah, I'm down with a baby. I don't know if I'm down with a child.
What do you think makes you change your mind? Like, is it like an anxiety thing? Do you think it's a selfish thing? Do you think it's like economic, or what is it? Why do you think your mind changes all the time?
Definitely economic.
Okay.
100%. Like babies or kids are so expensive. And then, but also like hugely selfishly, I will have to disrupt my life. My life is pretty frictionless at the moment.
That's a good way to describe.
And it won't be. You know, you have to be organized. You have to be on top of things.
Your life isn't your life anymore. I think that's like every single parent I've spoken to, my age, younger, older, has your life. You have to come to reality that your life is not your life anymore.
Exactly, and you need to accept that it's going to look different.
And I don't think unless you're in it, I don't think you understand how much it affects you.
Exactly.
Yeah,
it's so difficult. And then, but I can also imagine a life with a child and without it. So, you know, I can imagine and there's no doubt in my mind that like we won't be obsessed with this kid.
Yes, no, of course you will. Like, it's your own kid.
But I don't know if I'm willing to commit. Like, the way I see it is, what am I going to regret more? Because I know I'll regret both decisions.
And it's okay to admit, and it's okay to say like regretting, because some people do, and some people, once again, have said to me, they could have gone either way.
Yeah.
It's not like they regret having their kid because they love the kid. It's the best thing they'll do. Conversation always starts, this is the best thing you'll ever do.
So good, but
I could probably not have done this.
Yeah,
you know?
Exactly.
But it's difficult. And I don't think you ever have the 100% answer.
No.
I think you're either 51% for a decent amount of time, or you stick in that 49 and it doesn't change.
Exactly. One of the things I have always said though is I don't want that decision to be taken away from me. So like I don't want to accidentally fall pregnant, and then we're like, oh, okay, well now
so you're going to be quite
we may as well just do that. I don't want that. I want to be like very
purposeful. Do you think society influences your decisions about having a kid?
Definitely. And in both ways, I think, actually. Yeah. So I think obviously it's so default to have a child.
Totally.
And so from that perspective, it almost feels like a bit like I'm not following the correct path in life if I'm even considering not having a kid. It's
like you're not living to your full potential as a woman.
Yeah, exactly. And also I'm like missing this, like something I'm missing. I'm going to be unfulfilled or incomplete if I don't do this thing. So definitely from that perspective. But then also on the other perspective, of course, like you see people without children and they live in their best lives.
Yeah.
And people with children also live the best lives, but just a different kind of life.
It's just a different type of life. Yeah. I think that whole like you're not living up to your full potential as a woman, that's something that from a society perspective, and it doesn't affect me, it's not going to make me change my mind because I'm so like steadfast in my decision, but it is something I think potentially I might get looked down upon because I'm not, you know, as women, it's always been drilled into us, right? The womb of the earth, you know, Mother Nature, which is great, but it's kind of like, well, if you're not doing that, then what? You're less than?
Yeah,
Are you kind of less than? And I think we've said it before. I think we said on the last episode, the era I grew up in, it was very, you got engaged, you got married, you had your kids. So I've always had that pressure
of one after the other,
you know.
And it's a constant question you get asked.
It is.
When are you having kids? It's not, are you having kids? It's when are you having kids?
Well, I mean, I used to get asked that a lot. And I think that's when I started really becoming a bit more vocal about my decision, because I was like, I'm actually starting to get a little bit offended now that I'm getting asked this much. So I'm just going to start being very transparent, and I'm not going to just say it's our decision.
Yeah, exactly.
This is not just a Cara decision. This is a John and Cara decision, right? Because there's always been, I think, so much pressure especially for women my age, to have kids. That guilt, that guilt element is there. And then you've got the other side as well, right? It's like, oh well, it's fine now, what's going to happen when you're 80?
It's such a bizarre question. So
and I'm like
what is going to happen when you're 80?
You know what's going to happen when I'm 80? I'm going to have my wonderful niece and nephew, and I'm going to have my friends' kids, and I'll be the cool aunt.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's what's going to happen when I'm 80.
And that's great.
Or I might be in a villa in Thailand. Do you know what I mean?
Let's hope it's a villa in Thailand. I'll come visit you.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean? But like I remember that was a question that used to come up a lot. Like, what's going to happen when you're older?
Yeah. Well, this is the thing, right? I think the irony is that choosing to not have children is quite political.
Oh yeah, I'll tell you.
Because, and you were speaking a little bit about the fact that, there's lots of people in the world, there's overpopulation. Why would we contribute to that? Well, traditional Western societies are very concerned about the fact that birth rates are plummeting, but then they don't look at all the social structures in place that don't support mothers.
Well, exactly.
Of course, people are not going to want to go into parenthood.
Why would you, when the government doesn't subsidize their pay? They're not going to get a pension because they're not able to work.
Exactly.
But then if you see the flip side, in South Africa, having a lot of children is seen as a sign of wealth.
Yeah.
So the more children they have, which is once again putting more stress on the economy and the infrastructure and all of that, the more children they have, it's okay, my children can look after me when they're older.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, in lots of parts of the world, there is that view that the children look after it. And even in our society, a big viewpoint that a lot of people have is that if we don't increase birth rates, we're not going to be able to support people that have retired. Because basically we are the product of the people that are now retired. And so we are the ones that are creating the economy and supporting the economy. If you don't have those people, then you're not going to have enough money to basically subsidize people on pension.
Okay, cool. We'll have babies, but then start putting in correct infrastructure and
100%,
laws and policies to help.
Exactly. But also, I don't think that it is our responsibility to have children just so that we have a society that functions in the way that society currently functions.
Absolutely. So. And I mean, going back to our wonderful Gen Zs who we give a lot of admin to, but you know what? All hail the Gen Zs. I can guarantee you now that birth rate ain't going to be increasing because they're very much like, no, firstly, they want to live their lives and they are very fluid in terms of their career and where they live. But secondly, they see it from a climate change and economic perspective, money, housing, etc. So it's very, very interesting.
Yeah, it's super, super interesting. Was there ever a time that you were like 100% yes, I'm going to have babies?
I've never been maternal. I've really never been maternal. I think when I met John, and funny enough, it was when it was the hive of the babies.
The baby boom.
No, honestly, there was a baby boom. Like, it was wild. And he also had friends around him who were also having kids. And like you say, you kind of see that. And they were doing parenthood so well. They were like my age, a little bit older, and they were doing parenthood so well. These kids were just like fitting in with them. They were going to braais, or we were going out for dinners with them or whatever, or they were coming over to our house, vice versa, bath the kid, put him on a bed, and we carry on with our nights. And I was like, this is pretty chilled. I think
I can do this.
I think I can maybe do this, but it was never. I was still never 100% yes. I was still never 100% yes. That was probably the closest that I got to
being
the
like,
yes.
Oh, this is something I could be into.
Yeah, this is something I could get into. And I mean, I can't ask you if you were ever 100% because you're still in the throes of it.
But I was at one stage 100%, whereas now I'm definitely not.
When do you think you were that 100%? Was it like...
Well, it's actually quite funny because if you think things like when we think about people's relationships and stuff, they're like, you should have all of these conversations before you get married, right?
Yes.
You should talk about like finances and children and religion and blah 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 blah. And
so I mean
me specifically as an example of all of those things is absolutely wild because I thought I was being like so mature and having these mature conversations with my partner before we entered marriage. It was like one of the first things I asked Blaine was,
you joking?
Well, do you want kids? Because I definitely want kids. Like, so it needs to be on the agenda.
You have to have it.
And it's so funny because, look, I think those conversations are important
too.
Especially if somebody's 100%, but I was 100%. And then like life happens and things evolve. I do honestly think that if we lived in South Africa, my viewpoint would have been very different. We don't have a village. We don't have a support. Of course, like we've got you guys.
Yeah. But I get that.
We've got our friends and our friends here are literally, you guys are our family to a large extent. But we can't really expect you to look after our kid like a grandparent would look after our kids. I know what you mean. So that's a huge part of that decision. But I mean, so many other things. It's just, I think it's really funny how there's this like perception that you need to have all this waxed before you get married. But you change so much. And honestly, luckily we're sort of changing together. But can you imagine if one person changes because that's what life happens and the other person doesn't change alongside you?
Well, look, I think I completely agree with you. I think it's good to have the initial conversation because memory serves me and John did have an initial conversation. I was like, I'm kind of like, I'm not like, neither here nor there. And I think also societal, he was like, well, he would like to have kids. And I was like, well, look, I mean, well, let's see how it goes. I'm not close to it, but I'm not like, let's go get me knocked up sort of thing. But you change, your views change, and our views have changed so much over the last 14 years we've been together. But people break up, people literally end relationships because they're not on the same page. And I always want to say to them, it's a different story if I've been dating you for 6 months and we're not aligning on kids. Like, you just need to take a step back. But then also at the same time, maybe they're in that camp that is like, this is my personality.
And this is my life purpose,
this
right?
is my
to be
life
a mother
purpose.
or father, whatever it is.
Because I don't understand it, I don't want to say judge, but I kind of am like,
is it your life purpose?
Is it your life purpose? Are you sure about that?
But that's just because we're all different.
Totally. No, I get that, but I'm also about like, I don't know so much about that. I don't want to judge.
But yeah, it's very interesting. But no, I was definitely 100% and I'm definitely not 100%. But that doesn't mean, I don't know. Today.
What is today? Are you 51?
I'm.
Because you saw the cute baby yesterday.
Yeah, so yesterday, if you'd asked me, I would have been like 65 yes.
Ooh, okay, cute.
Today, I saw like a whole group of school kids and I was like, that's not cool. So now I'm like 30%. That's how much it changes. How am I supposed to make a decision on that?
The great thing is you are young and virile. I hate that word, but you're young and virile. You have 15 years.
I've got time. Exactly.
You have time. So I have time. Yeah. And that's kind of what I think. We got time.
We do. And also I think
the only thing is the tiredness, hey? Because you're getting into your 30s. And let me tell you, when you get to 35, it's a thing. Like you have to start slowing down. No, I wouldn't say 35. I say about 36, 37. All of a sudden, like you do need to just chill a bit more. You can't function on like less sleep. That's the only thing I will say. So you got 7 years, no pressure.
But apparently children of older mothers actually have like better life outcomes, so they're like better at school, they're better at sport.
Well, it makes sense. Think of the older you're getting, and I know specifically you become a bit more comfortable in yourself, you become a lot less like settled, so it makes sense. And if you're, as a mother, the reality is if you're settled, the more settled you are, you're affecting the kid as well.
Exactly. And also you're in generally a better economic position, which the truth of the matter is economics does influence success.
It does.
Of your children. It's not the be all and end all, but it certainly influences it. Do you think that we should be sharing these decisions with other people?
Well, like I said to you, I mean, it was constant. And I don't know if it was kind of, the millennials and us, but it was cool, married, when are you having kids?
Yeah.
When are you having kids? When are you having kids? When are you having kids? And it was kind of like, firstly, should we be asking women this? Because you don't know what the next person next to you is actually. Yeah.
You could be trying to have children.
You could be trying, but just not succeeding. So, and then it was when I was like, I started sharing and we're like, well, I'm not having kids because I was constantly being asked all the time. And I was like, you know what? I'm not having kids. Like, I'm not having kids. So
I'm just not interested.
I'm just not interested. I don't mind speaking about it. Like, I'm happy to speak to anybody. Actually, I invite you to ask me the question. Let me sit you down.
Because I love chatting about it so much.
I actually really like chatting about it, and I know it could be boring for some people.
Do you like just being like also a little bit controversial? Because I would love that aspect.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I sometimes wonder if I'm an anomaly. I think when I used to speak about it, call it 6-7 years ago, it was like, okay, like, yes,
you were definitely the anomaly.
I was totally the anomaly, and I think it was quite nice to get a bit of a rise out of people. I'd be like, yeah, well, I'm just gonna say no to that, and I kind of liked it a little bit, but I think now so many people are making this decision and being so open about it that I'm happy to like sit down, have a chat. You know?
Yeah, I don't think you're the anomaly anymore.
I don't think I'm an anomaly anymore, you know. But yes, I'll be honest, I did used to kind of like getting a bit of a rise out of it. Why not?
Why not?
How do you feel? I mean, you're speaking about it on the podcast.
Yeah. So I love talking about it. I think it's so fascinating.
Okay.
I'm like, why do or don't, like, why do people do it or why don't people do it? Like, I find that really interesting. And that's why I like talking to people about it. I don't think you should ever ask people when you're having kids or
agreed.
You know, how many kids you want and all of that sort of thing. Like, just maybe don't broach the subject unless they bring it up. That's also fine, because you really don't know what people are going through.
No, and I think something that really, really, really irritates me is when a woman is not drinking and they're like, she's not drinking, she's pregnant. Are you pregnant? To be fair, I've heard a couple of comments about that with you. Sometimes if you like don't feel like, they're like, are you pregnant? No, maybe I just don't want to drink.
Yeah. Exactly.
You know, I think that is one of, honestly, like,
it's the most annoying question.
It is
like, I get
the
it.
most annoying.
I do
annoying question.
very like randomly stop drinking.
Yeah, you'll just be like, listen,
month, whatever.
I'm not drinking. I'm not drinking this month,
or I'm driving, or whatever it is.
But
and
I think
always a comment.
So rude.
It's so annoying.
Kills me. And some of it's not coming from an intentionally bad place.
Yeah, but they're just being idiots.
But like, don't.
Yeah.
Like, I think we're in a society now where we kind of know wrongs and rights, and like, just don't.
Exactly. But really interestingly, I was Googling because I was like, I'm pretty certain that there's something to be said about men with children. And they actually call it the fatherhood bonus.
Oh, okay.
And so basically men that are married with children are more successful than those that aren't. And it's because essentially they're deemed as more like stable and responsible and mature. And so they're more likely to get promoted and do better in their careers.
That's so wild.
The same thing doesn't necessarily happen for women. I was about to say,
because that definitely doesn't happen for
women.
We
seem as a liability, right?
Because we've got to do school runs, because we might be tired,
because, you've got 5,000
taking time.
Yeah.
You might take sick leaves.
So
sick leave.
Really, really interesting.
That's so wild. Do you judge others for not having the same viewpoint as you?
No. But I do judge the way in which people approach the decision to have a child, or rather the default position of having a child. I think it is wild that you are not having this discussion, and not necessarily being like me, who teaches from 30% to 60, 70% sometimes.
What do you mean? We're all on the graph.
Like, maybe be a bit more stable than I am. But it is not a light decision to take. No. It is so expensive.
No.
It changes your life entirely. For good or bad, it changes it.
Regardless, whatever way you're cutting it, it's changing.
Exactly. And I think people are approaching it so like lackadaisically.
Lackadaisically?
There we go.
Lackadaisically. That's good.
They're obviously we're going to have children and then they're going to have babies. And I'm like, well, how have you thought about how you're going to pay for their schooling? Have you thought about how you're going to... And it's a sad state that we live in, because we shouldn't have to think of all these things. And there should be no limitation to you having a child or not, but there is.
Yeah.
And so I've got a bit of a problem with the fact that people just approach it so...
Just so like willy-nilly.
Yeah, exactly. And you?
I don't judge people. Even though I think I said it like 20 minutes ago. I don't judge people. I sometimes don't understand, because I wasn't built that way, because I don't feel very maternal. I sometimes don't understand the choice of people to have 5, 6 or 7 kids.
Oh yeah.
I don't understand it, because I'm like, that is a lot. But no, I don't judge people for, I think it's amazing. I love having a niece and nephew. I love it when my friends have kids. We've got some really cool little kitties that we have here and in South Africa, and I think they're amazing. But I just sometimes don't get that whole maternal side of it. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't get it. I can't resonate with it, because I do think that a lot of people make the decision very lightly.
Yeah.
Where it's a massive decision. And I think on the flip side, the decision not to have kids is actually not as easy as you think it is.
No.
Maybe a bit easier now, yes. But if you have made that decision, you could be in a situation where your family isn't supportive of that decision as well, right?
Yeah, of course. So, they're waiting for grandchildren, right?
Waiting for grandchildren. So it's either way, it's a really, really tough decision. And I think the most important thing is that you make it for yourself and you're not making it for other people. Yeah. That is one thing that I will say. Always make sure you're making the right decision for yourself. You're not making it for anyone else. You and your partner need to make the right decisions for yourself.
Agreed. I think that is a good note to end things on.
Make it for yourself.
I could speak about this for 45 more podcasts. It's wonderful. I love it.
Yeah, it is a good topic. And we're going to have some guests, I think, to carry on the discussion.
Exactly.
So if anybody who is also in my team wants to come on the podcast, we'd be totally open.
Yeah.
We're trying to find some people who also are no's that want to come on the podcast.
Yeah. We got loads of yeses. Mostly because we see the product of a yes.
Mostly because we're seeing the product of the yes, because they're very cute. So any no's out there, let us know.
We love all the yeses.
We love the yeses. Okay. Like, comment, subscribe.
Bye.
Bye.